Hi, my name is Phil. I'd like to come about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss how an exchange between senior Labour MP Liam Byrne and Tesco executives highlights a crucial way in which private businesses operate, which works against the public interest when it's applied to vital services. Another key reason why the privatisation of essential public services was doomed from the start. But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So Liam Byrne is the chair of the Business and Trade Select Committee. Before Parliament broke for summer recess, he led a select committee interview of executives from Tesco and I think Sainsbury's. The issue he raised was the same for each, so I'll focus on Tesco here just to highlight my point. It concerned how different people pay different amounts for exactly the same product, depending on where they buy it from. Now, before I go over the point Byrne was making, it's always been the case that people on very low incomes get squeezed an extra time during a cost of living crisis. What many people don't necessarily realise is that a lot of people on low incomes, they don't just struggle because they don't have as much money, but also because they often pay more for the same things. Poor people do pay more for the same tin of beans as a wealthier person in a lot of cases. I once lived in a place that was between two major towns, each of which was a very long bus journey away if you didn't have your own car. I had my own car, so I just went to the nearest town for my groceries. But if someone didn't have that and the pennies needed watching, so they couldn't just pay for like a Tesco delivery, then they would have to shop at one of the stores in that small town that was between the two bigger towns. And there were no supermarkets there. So you had to go to one of the smaller ones where the goods are on average more expensive. And this was highlighted in this select committee meeting. Liam Byrne held up two boxes of Weetabix. They were completely identical, exactly the same, two boxes of 12 Weetabix, right? But he bought them from two different Tesco stores, both Tesco, but two different stores. One, the superstore, it cost £2. But in the Tesco Express store, it cost £2.20. And the same is true of a whole range of products he was pointing out. Now, superstores are the ones you'd find in town centres or retail parks, the large ones, as the name suggests, basically in locations that a lot of people would have to travel some distance to get to. Express stores are smaller, they tend to be located in more suburban areas. So if you're out in the suburbs, but you have difficulty travelling longer distances for whatever reason, you may need to get all your groceries from the Express store. And there's enough range there for you to do that. But as Byrne points out, you could be paying 10% more than someone who can afford to get exactly the same things from the superstore. Now, the Tesco executive did explain the reason. It's because you can stock a superstore more efficiently. You have a lorry just filled with the same good basically going there. That cuts down on transport costs. Supplying an express store, you've got like a smaller lorry or a van carrying multiple things in it. So it works out more expensive per item stocked. Basically, the operating costs per volume sold are higher for the express stores, so they have to charge more for their products. And because people on low incomes are more likely to use the express store, not out of convenience because it's closer, but because it's difficult for them to get to the larger stores, then it's almost like a premium on poverty. Liam Byrne said that because Tesco was making decent profits, they should just equalise the costs across the business. But Tesco insisted, no, we have to make sure every component of the business can stand on its own 2 feet. This is the fundamental difference between someone thinking of Tesco, say, as a vital public service, because it provides essential groceries, and someone recognising it as a business. Now, I'm going to say the approach Tesco are taking, it's the only one a business executive can take. You can say all you like, well, you make enough profit, so they're never going to do that. No business, especially one with shareholders, is going to hire executives who go, oh, well, we're making enough profit, let's do us a favour for our poorer customers, right? Almost never going to happen. And as I've said before, businesses like Tesco they're nowhere near models of bad businesses at all. When talking about profits, let's compare them with, say, Centrica, who own British Gas. Last year, Tesco had a turnover of about £69 billion. They made £2.7 billion profit. So that's like a profit rate of about 4%. Centrica, on the other hand, made a profit of £1.6 billion on a turnover of £19.9 billion. That's an 8% profit. That's double the profit rate of Tesco. And the year before, when gas companies were really profiteering from the war in Ukraine, they made a profit of £2.8 billion from £26.5 billion turnover. That's a 10.6% profit. Basically, there are private providers of vital public services who make way higher profit rates than supermarkets. The reason being, of course, when we get told about the benefits of privatisation, what is it? Oh, well, competition in the market drives up standards and prices down. Supermarkets are genuinely operating in a competitive market environment. Most people do have a genuine choice of where to get the groceries from. For other public services, there is no choice. Even gas. In theory, you can choose. Well, I don't have to go with British Gas. I could go with whoever. There's other gas companies, right? Wrong. The choice is an illusion. Doesn't matter who you're getting billed. You have a choice of who bills you the money, but it's the same gas coming through the same pipelines. And the people supplying that gas and providing those pipes, they get the same money regardless. As for water companies, you don't even have the illusion of choice. You are assigned your private water company. You have zero consumer choice, real or imagined. Thames Water are now recording losses because their business model is collapsing. But the year before, they were posting profits of about 6.5%. Still significantly more than supermarkets like Tesco. So this exchange between Liam Byrne and executives from Tesco and Sainsbury's highlights a few things about the way a business works and how it's incompatible with the way an essential public service needs to work for the benefit of the public. The first thing is that businesses will focus on the needs of their customers in terms of pricing and quality, but only if those customers actually have a genuine choice. Essential services, where the consumer has no real choice, make much higher percentage profits than those where the choice is real. So lesson number one is, in the interest of the general public, if you want to keep costs down, you cannot allow profit to dictate a public service where there is no choice. So there is no choice with a water company. There is no choice with an energy company either. Again, you can choose who bills you, but you get the same electricity and gas through the same cables and pipes, and the people supplying it all get the same money for it. Makes no difference who your energy company is. Everyone is getting paid the same. Public transport's the same. Which bus company are you going to use? Well, the one whose bus turns up when you need to catch it. Which train company do you go with? Well, the one that's providing the journey you need at the time you need it. There's no real choice unless you want to add more time to your journey to wait for a different provider. None of these services should be run for profit because none of them have to really have much regard for the customer, as they cannot realistically choose to go with a competitor. The shareholders do have a choice though. They can choose to buy other shares. So these businesses, they ignore the customers and focus entirely on the shareholders because they're the only stakeholders who have a choice. Supermarkets genuinely compete with rivals, so they do focus on their customers. But even here, they're still running as a business. And as the Tesco executive explained, that means making sure each individual part of the business is profitable. If a Tesco Express were not making a profit, they'd close it. There's absolutely no thought of running one part of a business at a loss in order to cater for the needs of poorer customers, just because the business overall is making a profit. Shareholders don't choose to buy shares just because your company is profitable. They do it because it'll be more profitable than other shares. It highlights the fundamental incompatibility between the way a for-profit business will operate, particularly one with shareholders, and a not-for-profit business or nationalised service. They will still need to meet budgets. A not-for-profit and a nationalised service will still need to meet budgets, but there are no real other further cost considerations beyond that. Almost all of the focus can be on delivering for the customer in the short, medium and long term, even if that customer has no consumer choice, because where are your stakeholders? Your stakeholders are your customers. What this shows is if there's a vital public service, profit makes it impossible to deliver that service in the interest of the public. The only way to keep profits under control is if the customers have a genuine choice, and even then there are still issues. If only people were encouraged to really discuss business models properly. Communism's not compatible with human nature, so that never works. But capitalism isn't compatible with the public good, so that never works either. We need to have an honest discussion about how to strike the balance between the benefits of each whilst cutting off the downsides of each. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.